One.
Welcome to FESIG, the free energy special interest group, where science meets spirituality in the quest for truth and knowledge to free humanity and transform this planet into a paradise.
Hi everyone, hi, this is Crystal. Welcome to Physics 128th Meeting's second session. We have just completed the first session with Bruno speaking, and now we have Rene in a second session. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to share screen on the agenda for today's meeting. So today we have our 128th meeting is the 4th of September. I have here with me our FESIG team and the regulars, our consistent, beautiful presence of the regulars and the R&D team members. Everybody's here. And I'm the chair, and co-chair is Dr. Fresprezel, Pontus, Henrik, Billy, Kian, Scott, Tricia, and Mona, and others. And forgive me if I miss out on your name. There are many of us here, and you go in and out in the meeting. So I don't really know because I'm looking at the screen right now. So FESIG is a platform where science meets spirituality. And we have technology scientists and inventors speaking along with the spiritually aware and awake inspirational speakers like Bruno, for instance, to inspire us to get on with our divine mission here on the planet. In the first session that he took us through, his mission is so beautiful and so motivating for all of us. So you see now on the screen our, oh, shucks, sorry. I just have to do this. It's a lot easier. I'm struggling with putting it on a big screen. So the first session was Bruno's visionary and founder of Thracia Unita. He talked about how he manifests his dreams and vision about partnering the iconic Sasha Stone as Sasha has done the world tour. So you could have seen the videos and the pictures and whatever photographs that he's been showing, partly from Bruno's as well, so because they're partners, you see. So building the new Cities of Light project, and yeah, of course, he's setting a role model for all of us like warriors with our divine missions to accomplish on Earth. And we've done that with the beautiful questions from our live audience, our live participants, which was greatly received with beautiful answers as well. On the second session here, we have Rene Swain, aka Arcturus Ra, who has spoken at our 80th, 82nd, and 110th FESIG meetings about his Atlantean cell mid-bit prototype he developed single-handedly with time-lapse video and photography, and his other futuristic Ra key products returning to present out with the old, in with the new, and how time is accelerating and everything changes. And folks, please pen down for our next meeting, next time we meet on the 2nd of October on your diary, so you don't aggress me on posting the speaker's invitation to join meeting too close to the meeting time. I can't help it, folks. That's how it is for the 129th FESIG meeting. So that's it. And next, write to me, crystal@truevisionofpeace.com, if you want to recommend any wonderful speakers for FESIG that are relevant to what we are seeking here on this platform. And our website, please keep checking on the website to see new announcements and developments and reports of past meetings, and subscribe and get your friends to join us, okay? And there's a page on our FESIG webpage that says join us, click on it, okay? Because I'm revamping the newsletter to send out just once a month for folks that have joined. I'm sorry I stopped that for the last 6 months because MailChimp needs more money. We can't pay because we do everything for free, okay? And join our Telegram group to participate with the study groups that you can form together. Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you for bearing with me there. And I want to stop sharing screen now to introduce Rene, who is so good to come back and talk to us about his developments. Rene Swain is the founder, CEO, owner at Omphotonics TM, founder of Omphotonics at Transdimensional Communications and gatekeeper at Reseeding Earth Living Library, and Arcturian Starseed. Rene is awakening us to purpose Starseed ambassador. Arcturus Ra shares his personal awakening and his remembrance of being an Arcturian scientist and Starfleet commander, and how he has stepped into his mission on the planet in the past. When he speaks in public, he does that. He has spoken about that the last 3 times. And he also shares his knowledge of the mysteries of the universe on how to biohack yourself to see other dimensions, information about his and our ET heritage. So when in the past, on the 80th, 82nd, and 110th meetings, he talked about photonic L level activation, intracellular biovital dynamic enhancement, chakra harmonizer, intrasuperluminous cell communication amplifier, and his time-lapse construction of his holographic midbib. Oh, wow. Over to you now, Rene. Welcome back.
Yeah, question is how do we screen share so I can show
Right. If you
the
look at the navigation bar at the bottom of the Zoom window, you will see only one that is light up in green
yeah,
with an arrow pointing upwards. Click on that one, bro.
yeah.
And then out comes another window that says share. But if you want to share a video, you got to click on two tiny boxes there to say
No
share
video, no, just the screen sharing.
screen share. As soon as you
Yeah.
click on the green window, out pops another window that says
It says sharing is not turned on, and then I click it and I don't see anything.
oh, I'm so sorry, Rene. I think I will have to give you permission to screen share, right? I will make you co-host.
I have to send a request or something.
Yeah, I will make you co-host. It's a lot easier. Okay.
Yeah, you have to give permission.
Yeah, I'll make you co-host now so you can do it like. In the past, we let everybody share screen and we got into deep trouble. So we won't do that now, friends. We learned our lesson very well.
Okay, so I'll show something here.
Sure. Oh, wow, beautiful. Is that
Okay,
what you
so
developed it?
yeah. So interestingly is I got this idea from something that was developed around COVID and it didn't sell,
Mhm.
and it called it the nap shell. So I kind of worked on redesigning that thing, and I want because you see the idea is of the med bed. I wanted to look futuristic. The problem with presenting the med bed is everybody's like, oh, it looks like a tanning booth. Well, in fact, it is the hull of a tanning booth because this was the fastest way to manufacture the thing because nobody actually would produce what you see. And I was like, I wanted for the next year to be more futuristic, which will make it more attractive for people like, and I'm thinking, how Apple designs look, these sleek, white and simple, and just, so I wanted to be like a drop, like a blip or a pod that could be on a spaceship, and it could be from the future. So this is what you see. And put my photon devices into the base of it. You see that floor is a little low. I will used, thank God, AI to rework that thing. And it's so amazing. You can click on it and somehow AI can read the image and just fill in the blanks. It's pretty cool. How I did it is seamless. You can't see it. It didn't look like that before. So what I want to do is raise the floor. I'm talking to engineers right now, developing a CAD design. Anybody who knows CAD designers that are intuitive and slick, please send me links. I'm looking for people because people really like fail to be creative and intuitive. so they resign from projects. Because you have to really feel this thing. And implement my technology in this bed with photon array, magnetic array alignment, all in the base of it. The assembly will be 3 pieces that you take apart, so I can transport that, like one person, you know, if you want to present it, can transport that with their car. You don't even need to have an SUV. So I made it more practical for transport, because the other one is tough to transport, is all stainless steel, and you need a trailer, and you go into a hotel with a trailer, it's a whole another mess when you go to like vending opportunities. So this is much better. It's an easy in and out, easy setup, and it looks better. So that's one idea that I wanted to show. So this is what it looks like, and the cell you know, will in the future have that look somewhat. Still subject to change with where the board will be raised, where the person is laying on. So let me see if I can get this a little higher. Let me see if I have something, an example. Give me a second. I want to see something with a person in it. I have something. Okay, so do share and go here. So you see now?
Wow.
So
Yes.
the floor is raised in this one, and the person is doing like, which is an option for when people want upgrade. You can do color therapy or sound therapy. I prefer noise cancellation headphones and mindfold, which is a kind of a blindfold that is like double blind, that you're really isolated from the outside environment by visual and sound, because within is more action. And this is basically, this was a model during COVID. This got lost. Interestingly, you know, all the plans and printing and everything just got lost. So we are redesigning it, because actually nobody can manufacture it. So this is kind of a futuristic idea. Let me see if I have another example of, and then I go to my latest pendant, and then we can go into questions and whatnot. Let me see. Bear with me. I'm like the mad scientist, having to think of everything. Let me see something that you would see. Yeah, show you that. Let's see. To lay it out so the computer can see it. Go back to sharing, and it's actually not showing it to me. Weird. Screens.
It happens sometime if you
Yeah, I
have
try to go into the
more than
picture.
one up. The old one is still up, then it shows the old one instead of the new one.
Yeah. So let me see if I can. Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. I see. Maybe this works. Let's go to my key, and then I go. Interesting. Share. But you're seeing the right one, even though it showed me the old one, but this is what you see the golden key.
Not yet. Looks like it's
saw.
only with, yeah, now we see. Yeah. But it's
Can you
only
see it?
part of the screen. So if you can enlarge it, please. Make full screen.
Should be. Let me see. Yeah, this is full, like, can you see it?
Yes,
Yeah.
we see it. If
Yeah,
you
okay, so that
push the green one up in the corner, it might be bigger.
the green one.
The green full screen bottom, up to the left.
To the left.
Yeah, the green full screen button.
Hopefully you see it. Like that's all I can do. So here is my latest pendant in 24 karat gold. It's I call it the contact pendant. It's called the Shem A10. And basically what I channeled was you see the three bowls around it resembling hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. And they're pointing as channels towards the center where the zero field is, but also where your body is as a carbon-based being. The bent triangle you see is kind of what holds this entire game together. It's like dark matter. It's like the space between spaces. And I'm leading towards the point where we kind of lose all concept of form. And the activation is basically with the blue crystals and the smaller crystals. It's an oscillating like a Merkabit type. You can say plus minus back and forth oscillation thing that helps you to actually anchor yourself in the vessel more. The download that I received is that the cosmic families that are related to you can link in lower dimensional planetary systems better with you when wearing this. People that have bought it also explain that their manifestation has amplified. So they got to really watch what their focus is. Like they really get what they want. Like it's like a photonic accelerator to what you want to manifest. So let's go to let me see the next. So the way I built this thing is, so you can still see the screen. Yeah. So here you see in the center is a magnet. That is to anchor in the vessel. That is make you in a way respond to it. That's the inside. It's built like a watch, so it's a complex system. I had to really go to many manufacturers to find a way to even get the screws that fit the size of what I want. I had the dimensions milled the way I want because the drill bit would break. It was a very complex thing, hence we only made 200. So, and then I went to the principle of I wanted magnetic and photonic. So what you see is the top one is the photons sand, which is nanoparticles, and you see it's over the top, very complicated to close the device. So I devised a resin form, which you see on the lower left, to put it in a resin and lower than where the cap closes, so I can seal this thing. And basically the photon array is kind of through the resin in a vacuum, and that accelerates actually the photons coming out of the device. And this is the backlit, which would have a backprint, but I don't have a picture right now available, where it would resonate 24 dimensions, which once I list it, you'll see it. And then seal this with the screws and then add crystals towards it. I'm gonna give you a side view. Also on those beautiful Sedona rocks, you can take wonderful pictures. It kind of looks like a medallion, a miniature computer system, or a spaceship. Interestingly, when I put it in AI and I say make this look like a spaceship, it renders exactly what it sees into a ship, like seamless. It's pretty interesting. I coded this with 24 karat gold. I used the company that they do e-coding. They do that for NASA. Their planes for re-entry. The tips of the planes have a gold plating system that they use. So I didn't go to a jeweler company. I went to a space company for aeronautics to have that high-tech plating going on, because I wanted to be on that level. Somehow it kind of fell into my lap. And here you see basically that's like my major pendant now, the Shem A10. That I have now in my store. Let's go to the next product. And that's for those who have seen the Joe Dispenza movie. I watched how he put gene sequence codes on a flashcard for you to read. And when the code was actually of existence and really found in the lab, people would produce this here represents the PM-SCL complex, represents an exosome. And an exosome is a repair cell that goes around and fixes cellular damage in the body. So rejuvenation, all of this takes place with that. They have found out also people in high bliss states and high meditative states produce a lot of these PM-SCL complex, which is the exosome. I call it sync link because a famous man once said, if it syncs in the brain, it links in the brain. So everything that you're synaptically synchronizing, you're building a network. There's another one here, and you can Google the individual codes. Serpin A5 is the regulation of the coagulation of the blood. Sometimes the blood needs to coagulate, sometimes it needs to do the opposite. What science hasn't found out, and it's really like I say that, doctors should, open themselves up to that. A lot of people that have diabetes, their Serpin A5 is in the basement. Yeah. And nobody looks at that because it's not in the protocol. Also, they found out, and I'm just saying, this is just observation, I'm not a doctor, that in people that have diabetes, they have actually a bacteria that eats the insulin inside the organ, and doctors don't look at it, or it's not accepted. There's different, as you can see, IRF1, you have to ask ChatGPT or Google it, or ATP5F1C. These are all individual different gene sequencing that are regulatory systems for your gene coding and the way the body creates gene sequences coming from the brain. When that's in order in that sequence that I put on the bracelet, your internal communication works better, besides photonically enhanced, but you also have a better functionality in cell repair, cell renewal, cell communication, and many, many complicated in-between steps, enzymes production, the monitoring of production. There are cells that monitor, are the right amount of cells being produced. Let's say, are the right amount of digestive enzymes being produced, and if not, a signal is sent. Like on a CD, you have a corrector bit, and if the corrector bit is not readable, then the CD cannot play the song. Well, the same thing in you, just more complex. If your cell communication corrector bits are out of order, well, you will have something what they call dis-ease. So we're going into the spectrum of analytically working that on all angles, not just taking supplements, but making sure the body actually, functions properly. Same thing as in when the spark plugs in the car have too much debris on the plug, the engine stutters and doesn't run smoothly. But in the human body, you can't change the spark plug, but you can help to rejuvenate it by talking to the cellular matrix. So in the back print, I put eternal thank you, because Masaru Emoto has looked at the word eternal and thank you. And you see these beautiful mandalas that form. So in my download, I received that if you put the gene sequence together and put these mandalas together as in a gateway for harmonious opening to be received by the human vessel, then there must be a response. So meaning if this, where you can read the Serpin A5, these are the codes that are inside the bracelet. And when you wear the bracelet, you basically translate the code to your extraocular vision, that is your cell's perception. So I'm giving the body basically a program routine to read its own cell protocol. And I wear these things, and when I'm driving long distance and I get tired, I kid you not, I don't fall asleep, like I don't crash. And I was inspired by other bracelets and other energy devices, I mean, even my own, but really like directly getting even more focus into the focal point. What can I do to the human body? How can I influence that in a positive way? And the job was already done, you can say, by Joey Dispenza, because they measured that when you put, I mean, this is mind-blowing. If you haven't watched the movie, The Source, it's within you. They put it on flashcards. And they show that these flashcards with the gene sequence to people, and they start producing these gene codes in the blood, and they have it measured. The doctors have confirmed it. They did it over and over. And I'm like, this is so amazing that somebody can look at something in a sequence that is actually correct and can respond to it. They did a placebo test. And here's what they did. So basically, I'm like the offspring from that movie because the science was already done. These people had $10 million and crazy labs and years to show that there really are changes in the blood when you do these type of influences. I'm merely combining Masaru Emoto's message in water. The body's made out of the water. The cells respond to images that you put on the body. So I put this on a bracelet. I'm using the gene sequence. Plus, I added, like they used 5. I'm using actually 6. I added the exosome to make it more round. And yeah, and sell it online for people that want to influence themselves positively with gene sequencing. So I call it gene Tera P, Tera as in therapy, to have an influence on the human vessel. So the scientific data that I have, where in our field when we deal with science that is not protocol or not taught, they are haters, or I can call them wannabe debunkers. There's no debate when science shows you that this actually works. Now here I want to tell you what happens to the placebo group, and that's just mind-blowing. They made up DNA that doesn't exist and created, some scramble of some DNA codes that are absolutely illusional. Like they do not exist. Science has not confirmed nor affirmed or anything, and they just wrote it on a piece of paper and they gave it to the other group. And the other group didn't produce any results. That means your subconscious knows when you're lying, meaning your cellular matrix, even if your mind is not trained and you're not an educated doctor, you know when a gene sequence that doesn't exist is being displayed on a flashcard, your body does not respond to it. You can't manipulate that. That is so interesting. And those with the right code, and none of them were educated enough to know what they're reading. Here's the flashcard. I mean, the fun thing is, I don't know if I have it. I made stickers with the gene sequences that I put in my car so I can read it. So I have it. I put it on my computer screen and bombard myself with the visual image to remind myself and the subconscious to get into the right sequencing order. And there's something happening. So to my crystalline sand that will be in the medbed, I mean, isn't in the basic models that I have sold before, it already is in it. You have to really now have an open mind to see how powerful this is. So I've sent milligrams to a German institute, and Germany, I'm half German, is very strict when it comes to science. And so we get out of this woo-woo zone to measure micrograms of my photonically charged sand. Yeah, but this is what I use. Photonically, basically, I capture photons with the device from a vacuum and project it into a storage medium. Crystal sand, nanoparticles. And nanoparticles, because I have a higher surface area of refracting and reflecting and storage of light, as in the isotope in a crystal. So what these micrograms do when introduced to a petri dish of human cells, that within 3 days, the mitochondria, the metabolism is accelerated by 21%. What does that mean? I created stickers that you put on a phone to give you a better cellular defense against 5G. So I'm not working on mitigating what's coming from the tower or diminishing what your phone is doing. I'm changing the resonant information coming from your phone by using laminated stickers. Mind you, I'll give you an example. Everybody, even in Sweden, you have stop signs, right? In the street, the stop sign. When you shine your light at night at the stop sign, what do you see? It reflects. Because they are nano glass beads in the stop sign. Like, can you imagine you take a stop sign, you engrave the flower of life or the seed of life into it, and then you photonically activate it and put it in the street? You will have significant changes. The Russians have proven that. I'm working on manufacturing that, and I call companies that actually make traffic signs, and they call me back, excuse me, sir, what are you actually working on? We're baffled. You're not using any stop or warning. No, I'm using sacred geometry and a platform to charge that because they have quartz crystal in them. That's why they're reflective. And one example is what Russians have tested it in the 50s. If you have a geopathic zone on a highway, you always have crashes, tires popping, cars toppling over, cars running into one another. There's always one area where these accidents happen. That means the lights in the ground and probably the magnetics are out of alignment. That's when Dan Winters talks about phase conjugation. And phase conjugation means if something is in ultimate resonance, harmony, under the source harmony, that's when luck happens. That's when synchronicities take place. So when you go to a place where a lot of bad things happen and you use my sand in a sign and you hang it up, it stops. It ceases to exist. And even after months you remove the sign, it stays away. That shows me that we can have an influence on matter when we structure energy. And that's what I do. So again, I have in a video that I uploaded on YouTube to show you the data and the proof from the Scientific Research Institute of Bavaria. They study biocell resonance. And they have proven that a little tiny phone sticker changes the resonant as a metabolitic information in the mitochondria in the body. So just to have that on your phone. Now imagine in my keys, I have grams of that stuff, how powerful that is. Meaning, what does that mean? If I infuse photons into crystalline matter, it's like this. In order to have millions and let's say billions and billions of photons to emanate, you need to be in a crystal mine. But it is impossible to have people visit a mine all the time to heal, or basically as a joke, hang a crystal mine of 1,000,000 pounds around your neck. That's not possible. So, but you can take that information and condense it and put it in a pendant and emulate as if you are surrounded by a wall of crystals. Hence my keys, the basic forms that I sell are therapeutic devices that mimic basically a crystal mine that has a very high emanation of biophotons, as in bioluminescence, but on a level where you can see it. You know, certain bioluminescence, like in sea creatures, is visible at night, like plankton that glows. People show that, you know, when you see these viral videos where they're in the water and they do this and it's all glowy, that's bioluminescence. And that's in the visible spectrum. I'm at, if you can follow me, 10 to the 23rd. I'm at a very, very, very high level of luminescence. It's a very, very high frequency. And it can only be measured with a biophotonic emission camera in a double, triple blindfold room. And I think there's only 4 systems like that in the world that can actually do that. You know, they did it with a plant. You can see a flower emanates this blue light. And it's not electric. I'm not working with EMF or PEMF. I'm working with photons and negative ions. And I realized that in pyramids, at sites in Ireland, Stonehenge, all of these holy sites have one thing in common that I looked at, and I couldn't find it in books, but I found a correlation. Magnetic anomalies, highly negatively ionically charged, and photons coming from the ground. I give you an example. The photon and magnetic and ionic array in Hawaii is off the charts. And the reason, if you investigate, you'll know that they have these imported acacia trees from Africa. They need up to 90 to 100 years to grow to full maturity in Africa. In Hawaii, they need 20 years. That just shows you accelerated photons and negative ions and magnetic high resonance in order accelerates and affirms life. And that's what I look at. I have another example where UFOs come in. I don't know if you ever heard of the abduction case of Travis Walton, I think. Very phenomenal case. So, and I spoke to Travis, and he said everybody wants to know the ETs and the ship contact. Nobody asked what happened on the ground. So he explained to me, and I found a video that was erased over and over, and I found it again, and it was re-uploaded. Very difficult to find. Like YouTube did not make it easy to find. Also very interesting. Where the ship, basically the case would happen is that Travis Walton was a lumberjack out with his crew out in a place called Heber in Arizona, chopping woods, you know, fulfilling the contracts. And at night they're going home. A red glowing craft, and I make this, I'll give you a rough draft, comes from the sky. They're all scared. They want to go home. He's the only one, gets out the car, runs towards the craft, and runs in towards their dimensional projection and almost dies. He's on the craft. They have to save him because his heart is failing, and they're trying to save him. Somehow in that timeline, he wasn't supposed to die. There was an accident. A whole nother story attached to that. So let's go back to where the ship touched base. They did samples in the ground, highly photonically charged, negative ions like crazy, magnetic anomalies off the charts. The pine trees in the center where the craft touched base in a circumference of, let's say, 20 to 30 yards, 2 times the size of a regular pine tree. Meaning, from the soil they took, biological life was enhanced by 37%. And that's what I'm working with. Another correlation where then later on, I don't know if it was the government, they chopped this entire area. They chopped the trees so you couldn't really tell visually. So they still went in there, and then you see a tree stump, which I'm showing in one of my videos, where you see 15 years after that craft touched that ground, the growth rate was still accelerated in a chopped tree, and it didn't decay. No decay. All the outer rings after that time decayed and were rotting. So I know that we're dealing with spaceship technology, toroidal fields, tachyon energy, vorticular energy, whatever you want to call it, scalar waves. And I'm thinking if that comes from not using electricity, that's why I don't believe in you plug in a Rodin coil. You know, that's why the Rodin coil doesn't work. When you unplug it, the energy system collapses and you don't have free energy. Because we're not plugging in to a grid of where that actually is possible. We're still using electricity and pulsed electromagnetic frequency that's based on, Sweden is probably 50 hertz coming out of your plug outlets. What do you have, 220 volts in Sweden? 220, the voltage for
240,
your devices?
240 volt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, 240, see, and 50 hertz. So
Yes.
that is counterproductive to actually the zero field energy. And you see the pyramids not plugged in. The pyramids in Bosnia that Sam Osmaganic found are not plugged in, but yet they emanate electromagnetic pulse waves coming from the ground that you can measure. You know, Tesla worked with that, but it was Edison and J P Morgan, and you know, the monetary system that wanted a voltage that is AC/DC so they can meter it, measure it, and charge for it. Tesla wanted actually magnetricity, which can't kill you. You can hold a light bulb in the air. You can do this test today. You have a rod in your backyard, run a coil, turn the coil on, and everything that's electric will light up around it. We should have that in every household. You know, one tower in town and free energy that's based on a Shumann resonance, but yet it's not being built. We're a little bit behind, but interestingly, we can build it. We can do it. I spoke to a guy. You can infuse your electric grid with the Shumann resonance. But our homes, Sweden is 50 hertz, Germany is 50 hertz, US is 60 hertz, and that cuts it kind of has your body always having to work. That's why when people with back pain leave their homes and they go out in the woods and they lay on the ground on a rock and they sleep for 3 days and the back pain disappears, because regular earth electricity You can see the aurora borealis behind me. If the energy fields are naturally permeating, that's the only thing that's healing. That's why devices that are hooked up to electricity, you're fighting against the current to actually get the healing going. So my theory from observation is when you get scalar, tachyon, vorticular energy in one thing, you have this omni field, and that's what I'm working with. And then miraculous things happen, which I show in my speeches, where plants grow exponential size. People have lumps in their chest that disappear. People that are congested or constipated, they go to the bathroom. And just from when, and I read my testimonials in my store, from wearing a little pendant, all of a sudden the digestive system begins to regulate. And I'm saying there's so much more. You have to also have the willingness to perceive and receive those energies and work and experiment with it. And what can I say? It's the rabbit hole just goes deeper. The more stuff I find, the more stuff it's more, and I can go into infinite stuff where there's the flower of life, there's the flower of light, there's the seed of life, there's the seed of light. Also, to clear that mythological bubble when somebody says the flower of life is a trap, it's also bogus. It's about dynamics. And when the flower of life is, let's say, based on 12 dimensions, you see it's kind of frozen. So it has a healing effect, but there are more dynamics to it. I have a friend that I'll interview in the future, genius. She found out if you go to the cosmicality, looking at planets all do not perfect circles, they do elliptic. And that's the dynamic that's missing in the flower of life. So we're working on actually developing the flower of light and the seed of light, where you see it more warped, as in you have the actual natural dynamics of the elliptical orbital frequencies of planet amongst each other. And then you're truer to the field, actually. And that ends the debate of what's bad or what's good. It's just like we need to up the level of flower of life. That's the foundation. And from there, go into higher perspectives and build our stuffs and put our heads together. And not only that, when the field is harmoniously activated, you get smarter, you sleep better, you age slower, you need less food, actually. Supplements take better, and your entire system picks up better. And that's in subliminal. And I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. You all understand where I'm coming from. I had a guy at my booth in LA. Well, I don't feel the pendant. It's suggestive. And I said, these are subtle frequencies and subtle energies. Not everybody feels it. So I make a joke. I say, I can put 10 grams of uranium radiated in your pocket, and you will tell me you don't feel anything. And in 8 weeks, you begin to die because your cellular matrix is falling apart. That is if you are dealing with subtle frequencies. So we're talking quarks, proton level. People don't know an MRI. What does an MRI do? In order to scan you, they actually agitate the protons to get an image of your cellular matrix. They basically shake your atomic structure up. And that is what we're dealing with. If you harmonize that goes from the subatomic field into the atomic field into the cellular matrix, and then you can see significant changes. I had a woman that doesn't like cameras, unfortunately, but she had cataract and eye surgery with a laser, and she did cell well treatment, and she said that the doctor told her what she has is impossible, is that the scar tissue in her retina next to disappeared. So I know it's working. I know I'm going into a direction where we will develop. That's why if you have technology, which I think is 50 to 100 years ahead of time, it's not selling like hotcakes, because people need time to catch up to understand the science that's actually coming. I'm working on a substrate that's called agromagic, where you have problems with your garden. Some people, that was one lady said that she lives by the airport and her plants, everything is a mess. And I gave her the substance, basically oyster powdered from the seafloor, seashells, chalk and ash and photonically activated sand of mine. And she puts it in the soil, everything came back. So with that, you don't need fertilizer, you don't need pesticides, because locusts have antenna and they come when they know there's something eatable or there's a decay. That's what attracts ants and everything that seeks decay. Parasites, they come when the field is weak, but when your acres are strong, you no longer need fertilizer. And I think that's a problem that the world has. We all have artificial fertilizer. Our food grows in artificially fertilized soil. That's why it can't be that you have to eat 5 pounds of broccoli to get the amount of iron you need for the day. That shows you how insufficient broccoli is actually. You know, same with bananas. It can't be that you have to eat 12 bananas a day to cover a regular potassium level. We are eating out of deficiency. And when the soil is corrected, and the fruit sugar of a strawberry can be increased by 400%. I'm telling you, you eat 4 strawberries, you're saturated. But we eat bowls. That shows you how crappy this entire food dynamic is on the planet. So I'm trying to bring that to market as well as an agromagic, so like a magic soil that basically remineralizes the soil and activates the way photons communicate in the soil, increasing the bioavailability, which is what food actually needs. People have iron oxide and copper too much in their bodies, especially the vegans. They all eat green because all what the green does is, because of the artificial fertilizer, they store copper, they store iron. But in regular soil, they don't. But people don't know that because people don't study agriculture. Biological biofood in Germany can only be sold if the acres are untouched. No pesticide, no fertilizer. And in America, go to Whole Foods, and it's all labeled bio, but it comes from fertilized soil. So we're fooling ourselves. So I'm for the betterment of agricultural systems, cellular healing, better communication, and restructuring the field and from where we live to make the quality of life better, aging better, rejuvenation possible, and getting even the masses into more of an intellect that they have to actually follow that route if they want to, go into the next level, as in the ascension process. So far, so good. Now you can come with questions.
Thank you so much, Rene. That was really awesome. You shared a lot of these inspirations to us as inspirations, and we can actually reach out to you to buy your products as well from your website. Folks, as I said again and again, you want to get in touch with the speakers, just go to our website, FESIG's website, hover your mouse over their names or their pictures, and it takes you to their website link, okay? Rene, I have a couple of questions for you before I pass the microphone over to co-chair, the Resonance. I was thinking about how brilliant it is when you were presenting the idea of using Dr. Masaru Emoto's messages for cell activation. That is so brilliant. And of course, you infuse it with what you call it, you infuse it with other things like sacred geometry and the photonic, infrared photonic energy into the crystal matter and all that. That is so amazing, and it works because you said that they had done experiments on that, and it shows that there are benefits. Yeah. I would like to ask you. So you were talking about the bioluminescence of the soil in Hawaii, because Fernando Bosa just did a presentation about 2 meetings ago on the lava tubes in Hawaii, which fascinated press co-chair a lot as well. And the other speaker is co-speaker, Dr. Robert Maxime, and I still need to put them together to talk about that. It would be so nice if we one of these days when we're free, we have a sort of like a symposium and we bring all these ideas together. And together we will help each other in developing what we're here to develop. All right, so the question I want to ask you is, you know, Dr. Jerry Eugenio, who has spoken at FESIG's, let me see, FESIG's 80th meeting, he was talking about eternal life versus death science technologies. He was following Ashayana Dean's teachings about life, eternal science and death science. You were talking about the flower of life, and he was saying that is death science. And you were also talking about how the flower of life is ecliptical shapes, showing that. So there's
Yeah, so basically, yeah, what Ashayana Dean. Yeah, my problem with that girl is like she says that she's the sister of Jesus, and before 2012, she claimed she has the codes to walk through the Stargate, and Earth is going to burn in hell. So I'm pulling my plug.
I know.
That's why I'm like, okay, when you teach things, see, Earth
Yeah.
is not in hell, we're not in Bardo, and
Yeah.
you're not the sister of Jesus. Everybody wants to be famous. We all want to be the Messiah. We got to get out of that complex.
That is a
And
big
then
question
everybody
mark.
jumps. Yeah, and everybody jumped on the flower of doom. That is, you're following a false information, period. Look at
Yeah.
that person, neurological deterioration. You don't look good, so I don't follow your teaching.
So you're
Very
saying
simple.
the flower of life is okay, you're saying?
The flower of life is okay. It's not death-based. You know what's death-based? Is finite structures and things that will really, let's say, put it this way, a respirator in a hospital kills you. That's proven in a lab. But a flower of life imprinted in some temple in Egypt, that there's nothing deadly about it. They looked at the basic structure of a beryllium crystal, and its basic foundation is the seed of life. And that is just a basic foundation. That is like you pick one door, you have a peephole, that's a two-dimensional perspective. So of course it's not everything. But how they run around saying, oh, it's 10 bases, 10-dimensional. The flower of life can be infinite. You can make this thing as big as a poster and have 567 dimensions. This is also bogus. This is this self-created math principle, which to me is crap. If you have a machine or something infinite, and put it on a table and show me that plants grow with what you're doing. But if your plants wilt, I question you. Very simple. So I tested the flower of life. I put it under a plant, and the plant flourishes. I put water on it. We had water and microcluster check in the water, and water structures and heals with the flower of life. It's not death science. Death science is social media, information, Armageddon, flooding people with information that doesn't go anywhere, finite science, where people or sciences have theories that are based on absolutes. That's finite. But the flower of life, people don't be fooled. You know, every now and then some prophet comes along and says, this is the doom, just to attack something. And then they say their way is the way. Don't do that. This happened to us before. We've been duped by that shit, followed false prophets, and it led nowhere. And you see what happened to Miss Gruber. Her stuff got deleted. I heard she was suing people. Like, I don't know that lady, but I don't believe that somebody is the sister or related to Jesus claiming that, and saying that they are having the only gene codes to the stargates. But I don't see the luminescence around you. You can't even walk through a stargate. So nobody walks through solid confinement or over water. So the people got to be careful. They claim all of these things. I would send people like that to a shaman, to a Kogi shaman in the jungle, and have a shaman and a female shaman, have them take ayahuasca and evaluate their soul. Then I know who you are. Then I know who you're in contact with and what you're talking about. So I'm very careful with people that come with doomsday prophecy. And if you don't do this, you're going to die. To me, this is fear porn, and it is not progress. It doesn't elevate. So sorry, I'm a little bit charged here, but it is, it leads us away from being progressive,
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that, because we have
we are
we are open-minded platform where we have a lot of speakers coming in talking about what they believe in, and we're not taking sides. We're just neutral.
Yeah, we're not taking
learn.
sides. We're like, for me, it's like, show me your science, and never, you know, I don't want to diss Anna, her science with the part K and with Earth and the dimensions and the fall. There's hyper detailed stuff in there, but then there are these things in there where I'm like, why are these monkey wrenches in that thing? You know, where I'm like, there, you make a lot of sense, and then, you know, but you know, give a monkey a brain, and he would swear he's the center of the universe. Careful, 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 I say. Unless you don't have any formula that can be replicated or proven. That's why, in part, I trust science. In part, be skeptical. Don't believe everything. I worked on my science to get proof, so the skeptics there's no debate. I have papers. I have laboratory papers that show that I can do significant things with what I have, and I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm building that of what was already developed, you know, and that's where we keep it rational and keep it here. And if in your garden your plants grow, your animals are happy, people heal, people live longer, and people get better. Well, and I don't see
that's the money for the right science.
That's the science. And you know, the small ones will be the ones that will be victorious, not the ones with the Oscars and the Grammys and the big and the $200 million villas. This is not the orientation. The orientation is to look at what works actually. Does this for you, you know?
Yeah. We go with that, Rene. Thank you.
Yeah. So
over to you now, Fres, co-chair.
Well, thank you. Have I got some questions? This is going to be fun. Anyway, your new medallion that you showed in other parts, probably one of the favorite I've seen so far from you. So you get a thumbs up for me for what you got there. It's gorgeous. Anyway, your improvements on your med bed, thumbs up again. It's a nice design. It changes people's mental thought, as you explained, and I think it's a good thing. The next part of that, which is kind of interesting, which I find very neat, is you start with your old technology, which was the metal sheet with your crystals and stuff underneath it. And I can't remember if it had some in the above on the first med bed or your first penny, if they had it on both sides that was encapsulated. And you don't have electricity in yours. You're basically dealing with crystalline structure and built-in resonant frequencies of crystals. And anybody that's been messing with crystals knows they have a resonant frequency built in them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a crystal radio to listen to AM or FM, you know, AM on your radio band, okay? The color therapy adding into it, I think possibly has a lot coming up for you on that. The question will come into it is, how do we get the photon, the different color spectrum, which is in the visible light or just above or below the visible light, in there without dealing with electricity, fiber optics, not LEDs, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between, you know, adding electrics to it. So right now I'm not doing that. And maybe fiber optics, where the electricity is outside of the device. And maybe even the fiber optic solar powered and harmonized to a Shumann resonance. So it's really not close to the electric grid, not even in resonance. Good. And that is for the future. I'm not implementing that now. Right now, it's just healing modalities and letting the crystal work. Also, I found out, and you can Google that, Risley lens is the only lens in the world that can refract all colors of the spectrum. Not Vogel, not Ercheckted, not Vogel, which is brilliant. None of those crystals can. There is a guy that found out to two concave, convex, inverted lenses in a cell give you the complete spectrum. And then we're talking completely different light perspectives and healing. That's an idea to implement that in the future, when that's available. It's not even available right now. Also, you said with crystals, people, if you build organized devices, get a tri-field meter. And if your device doesn't pulse, you have nothing going on, because the piezoelectric crystal is piezoelectric when you apply pressure. So when you pour it in resin, that's pressure one time, one spark, and no more electric piezo coming, because you don't have this. You need the compression wave. You need it to work. So that's why sometimes orgone can be just dead orgone, not really doing anything. If you manage to study Wilhelm Reich accurately, that we have to work in layers, like how he did. Not just, some people, they take brass, they take some Sedona sand from the hills and mix everything. That's not conducive to what you want. What you want is, let's say, Sedona sand, a layer, and then a layer of atomized metal, then another layer of magnetite, and then another layer of, let's say, nanoparticles or powdered crystals. So we're working in layers. Now hold a tri-field meter next to your orgone device, and it's going to go tick, 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 tick. You have to arrange the elements in a way so they make sense. If you have letters all scrambled and they don't form a sentence, you have no information. Same thing in nature, same with the pyramids were built and holy places were erected. There has to be a sequence of A, B, C, D, E, F, G that has to be in order. If that's not in order, and you're just like, yeah, it's scramble something, it's like, it's like saying, let's take the encyclopedia of Brockhaus, blow it up with dynamite, and watch life unfold. That's not how it works. It's always intelligence by design. Random is an illusion. There's nothing random. There are systems at play in a divine orchestration. If you know where and how to fish, you get fish. You cannot manipulate that. This will always be, as the great guru will say, that the unfathomable, that what was and forever will be and forever is, your mind can't grasp it. That's why I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory, because that's kind of death science. That's kind of making it finite. Making that you as an amoeba claiming that you can build a bridge. And you see in nature, do amoebas build bridges? No. Do elephants argue with tigers what species they want to be? No. There's a certain way for conscious perception that allows for certain things to take place, and they're already in place. They're for us to find. I had a dream, and I think it was a briefing on a spaceship, that I was told science is not ready yet to perceive that, but maybe in 50 years, maybe in 100 years. One concept of free energy is this. There is a nuclear reservoir in the atom. There is a part of a holy geometry where there's a reservoir that you can lean on without destroying it. And when you figure that out, you have infinite potential of energy. But before that's taken place, well, what are we doing? We're splitting atoms. What does atom mean, or atomos? It means literally which cannot be divided. So Hadron Collider, it's basically Hadron Collider. Somebody said that's so funny. It's like, imagine you take a Buick and you take a Dodge Ram and you smash them near light speed together. You smash those complete vehicles and crash them. And then you want to figure out model and make, and that's an impossibility. You will never find anything being destructive. The death math is that we're still dealing with, when we destroy it, we blow it up, we particleize it, and then we figure out its sequence. That's not how this works. As they say, scientists trying to put stuff in formulas and hack things apart, and the spiritualist is actually trying to unify science and everything that is in one to have an understanding of how that exists. And that's where science has to learn, where the magic and science meet in other worlds, and what ETs have is to know what resonates, how it resonates, how does it work together, and why does it work, and not chop a tree to figure out how it grows. And we're still in this backward thing of Hadron Collider, where so this is kind of like, finite, and infinite is more the ellipse is more infinite. And interestingly, you can say that in India, the symbol for infinity is kind of like a wobble, and ours is this 8. like this intersecting, the crossing. So to see how different belief systems, I believe in the natural dynamic of things. You can do it with marbles on these plates, they're like basins, and you toss them in there. They'll create their own little elliptic system and their own little spiral that we have yet to study and yet to learn from. And master is nature. So, you know, we have seen beautiful mandalas. How does the Jupiter oscillate with the sun and earth? And you look at this entire wobble and it creates this mandala. So this is what is right now. And that's what I go by. I don't want to recreate it. But I look at, okay, what happens if I combine this with this? What happens, you know? So what I'm doing with my pendants is, well, I live in Sedona, the Red Rocks. Why are rehab centers all over the place here? Why do people come here and heal after weeks and weeks in the canyon? Well, what's in the rocks? Iron oxide. That's why they're red. The rocks rust. It's the ancient seafloor. And a lot of crystalline granulate mixed within the rocks. So we have a super orgone mega vortex where all the red rocks are, with magnetic anomalies, they call it, where people get better, where your brain waves begin to synchronize. A guy named Ben Lonetree has measured it, who wanted to debunk it. Puts the brain device on, goes with his laptop into the canyon, and after an hour or so, everything begins to harmonize and synchronize. So this is what is. I'm not even touching that. And debunkers still want to debate that. I'm like, look at nature brings you back to harmony. Bioresonance, that's mainly what I'm interested in. So if I go and sit here and I'm in resonance, then I evolve. I go further, eventually become that what you fear, the ET. It's just us from the future. That's what I'm saying. That's just us. We're talking to ourselves.
Yeah. I'm going to grab one more question to you, and then I'll turn it back to Crystal. Yes, when you talk about your layering, you're basically setting up, as in my class, I talk about capacitor plates. It's storing, it's transmitting, it's vibration in between the layers. And if you take a look at your rocks and stuff in the area of Sedona and the old lake areas, you're dealing with layers. You're dealing with layers. Want to get to your bracelet real quick. Kind of some interesting, fun things. Yeah. The new one. If I understand you correct, in your manufacturing, it's not just the printing of neat little symbols and stuff on the outside. It's actually, you've got probably your photonic crystalline structure embedded inside your bracelet. So what's interesting?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, we end up with this shape in everybody's mind. If we look at this from an electrical point of view, you're dealing in a toroidal tunnel that it affects, and it gets into binary pretty quick. If we take and we give it a quarter turn, one half turn, we end up with this shape. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? If I flatten this out, it gives us our infinity symbol. What's interesting about the single Mobius or triple Mobius is that you're dealing with one side, one surface. Instead of two sides and two edges, it's one edge, one surface. And so you end up with a rotation in twice around before you get through the entire one. And I'm going to leave you at that. And that's just one-to-one talking real quick here. And if you want to riff a little on that, great. I think you've got some cool stuff going on. So you can jump from there, and then we'll go to Crystal. I've got everything here.
Yeah, to wrap it up, you know that the heart muscle is wrapped exactly like that. The heart muscle is what they were unfolding it and really looking at that thing is really wrapped up this way. The reason why I make the bracelet in that way, because it's functionality for the wearer, as in the information transfer. With the heart, it's different because you have a cardiovascular system that basically is wrapped around this entire, you can say, heart Mobius coil, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to wear if I have it in this way, because then, you know, you'd have to flip to have the continuation of the information. So what I'm doing is I'm looping.
Mhm.
I'm looping it until the blood, basically I'm talking to the heart through the cyclical nature of this until it gets the information, and then the heart can actually really get the information where it needs to go. That's the reason why I didn't have it the way you showed it to me. So that's also,
that goes into electrical as CTs. The way you've got it set up is basically.
There's no crystals in there. There's a form of silicate in there because it's a rubber from the wristband company that makes it. But what every object has, it has protons. And what I do is I'm imprinting the protons of the bracelet with the Shumann resonance and the 863 hertz. And that creates an octave that gives that thing even way more kick. So if you give me your address, I'll ship you a sample, play with it.
Okay. Anyways, the thing is you can get the same shape as what you've got on your wrist by putting your dielectric around it and cast, and then you get a nice tube to go over your wrist. But other than that, yeah, I was under cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm always concocting and working on stuff, and I know it pulses. I held this tri-field meter, which I recommend people go on eBay, get this thing, even when you study paranormal fields out, hauntings and whatnot. I hold this next to my box that has no electricity in it. I'm kid you not. The thing goes tick, 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 tick. It pulses by itself just because I have the orgone, photon, and magnetic array in close proximity, makes it tick. It uses the environmental frequency and does its own thing. So I blow myself out the water. I'm like, whoa, you know. And then you call the patent industry and they're like, well, that would be super luminous technology, and that doesn't exist, but yet it works. So I'm not trying to get a patent. I just build it and sell it. Elon said the patents are for losers.
Yeah. Back to you, Crystal.
Build a thing, make it work, put it on the table, show proof of concept. Who needs a patent? You know, I'm past that shit.
I like you quoting Elon saying that.
Yeah, he said that. I mean, that makes sense. You know, that's for losers. But if it
Yes.
works, who needs somebody that doesn't have the equivalent knowledge that you have, channeling this thing in gear, knowing how it works, to tell you, well, it's real because he accepts your reality. What? Where are we? Like,
Right.
I'm
Oh,
unorthodox, you know. I'm like Bohemian. I'm out the window there, and but you know me, so that's me.
you always make a lot of sense. Thank you. Thank you, Rene, for sharing with us your science, your spiritual science. Where spirit meets science, this is where we are, this platform. You're spot on. I love it when you're explaining about how you combine the Emoto Masaru's messages as instructions for the cells in our body to function. Yeah, as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you tell people, do it at home. Take a glass of cooked rice, write on it, I hate you. Put it in a jar and take the other one, say I love you, like, and have the two sit and watch the other one rot faster. You know what rots faster? The one that you say I hate you. And people are like, I can't believe it, but they need to just belief system means also BS. So be careful.
Exactly. As a hypnotherapist, I've been using that analogy for my classes, my students.
Yeah, good affirmations.
20-something years ago. Yeah, it's such a good analogy to use, you know, to use as teachings. Yeah. And you were talking about the luminescence. You said you can look at somebody and you know whether that person has got luminescence coming out. Are you talking
absolutely.
about auric fields?
Yeah, when somebody is radiant, kids can see that the first 7 years.
I can see that. I can even see that in the video that you're in. Like I can see the luminescence around myself, and I look back on the screen, you know.
Yeah, I saw a picture of a normal picture, a photograph. Girl sits with her parents by the river, and she has a golden shimmer around her.
Wow.
And it's not Photoshop, so we have to be blind to not see it. There is an essence that makes us, and that is cellular emanation of biological photons. We do this all the time. And when somebody is dark, trust me, you see it gets gray around them.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a black and white tint around the circumference. You can see it. So in the future, you will see who's who. The more we have sight, you'll see if somebody is full of crap or somebody speaks the truth. You will literally, the line won't be impossible. We will be telepathic. We will be empathic, but like psychically, where when somebody comes with rain clouds, well, you see that, you know, in the cartoons, they show you the rain cloud over the cartoon figure and it rains. We know, we're ancient. We are millions of years old. We know what's going on. We have to stop getting out of the Muppet Show, stop playing the game of illusion, and come to the table with the real.
Sure. But I can say that, you know, since I can see it on the video screen as well, right? I can't see yours much because you're using a background screen. So it
Yeah.
took away your luminescence, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'll see if you don't have the background, you know, if it's just you and your surroundings, your natural surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. Anyway, you're talking about the changing the resonance of the phone, right? So you said put a sticker there and you change it. You change the resonance of a
Yeah.
person's.
Basically, I put a phone sticker
Mhm.
that sends a photonic signal to you while you have the phone on you. I mean, people don't know, these phones emanate 2.5 gigahertz all the time. They're scanning your face, that's for facial recognition, and they're checking for towers all the time, so they need to send a signal. That the only problem with EMF is it's not harmonious to your DNA. So over time, it stresses you more. Healthy people won't feel anything. People that are sick will get it more. So it's not like, oh my God, we have to forbid phones, but the subliminals can be changed. So when you add a highly potent crystalline sticker, you're changing the information to the body and reminding the body to stay in its own natural resonance while carrying the phone. So meaning, let's say a place is like Chernobyl, it's like radiated. If you would bring a device as big as, let's say, a city block, photonically activate that, you could clear that in half a year, that area.
Cool.
And it's not being built. That's how backwards we are. We can build it. The barrier reef I always say that in Australia, that's biologically suffering, we can bring back by, you know, we need an angelic billionaire that says we're gonna rent a freaking cargo ship and build 1 million glass cubes filled with my sand, and I have 100 million pounds available if needed, and submerge them in the barrier reef, and within 2 years it'll be back.
Wow.
But who will hear us? I say, you know, we are the earth angels. Who will hear us? We have solutions. I can put that stuff in an aquarium and it produce. Now imagine, no electricity needed. I can take a little glass pill filled with Swarovski crystals that I charge with my device and put it in an aquarium and tell the guy, remove your oxygen pump. Your fish are fine. The oxygen levels are self-regenerative for 20,000 years. You don't need any mechanical air pump, and the algae disappears and the pH level in the water is regulated. And I'm sitting here. Who hears me? Who can hear what I have? Who wants to help? We can do it. It's possible.
It's me.
Who makes the move? You
If I
know?
may.
Scott, did I hear you, Scott? Or is that somebody else?
Can you hear me?
Scott,
I can hear you
yes,
muffled.
we can hear you now.
Is it too loud or too low or
Too low, too low.
too low? Is that better talking into the mic?
Yeah, just
I
speak
don't know.
up, Scott.
I hear no
Yes.
difference. I can hear him, but it's like very muffled.
It's very muffled.
Yeah.
No, I can hear you. Just speak up, Scott. We don't
Right.
have much time.
Oh, you mentioned a few things. You blew me away the first 3 times you were here. Today you even went deeper than you did the other times. You were talking about combining things together and stuff, which is what you do very well. I put in the chat 2 films about frequency, One is from someone you might know, David Schumacher, that does the bubble stuff, and he's been a guest here many times. I put a
But there's the cymatics guy.
yeah, yep. Well, the video I put from him is a Facebook video where mostly is a rant, but he's showing stuff about a video from just 2 days ago. Really interesting, where you don't need electric to start it, where it starts on its own. So it's a really great David Schumacher rant, and he explains a lot of stuff that I'm sure you'll be interested in combining, and it's mostly about frequency. And then I also put another Facebook video from Trey Smith about frequency, dark frequency and light frequency. That was just from like 2 days ago. And what is in that film is a lot of what you're talking about. What they are doing is storing the frequencies as crystals by mixing salt water with alcohol, or is it just regular water with alcohol? Because it has a memory of the water and the alcohol, and then they're matching the frequencies. Anyway, I was going to suggest these videos for the group, but I put them in the chat so you can all grab them now. It's a way of really seeing how this work combines with that work, and in a torrid fashion, it's all one and the same and connect. And I think you'll really like both of those films. And then there's two more things to tie to it. You were talking about that. I saw that same video that the heart is actually not what that it uncause as a thing. There was a guest on one of the Republic call not quite a year ago. It was a Dr. Carl somebody, and he's a lymphatic system expert that's been banned and stuff. And he really explained some really high level stuff about the lymphatic system and the pumps in the body and stuff. I'll share that with you when I can remember his last name. But for now, please take the two films, Facebook videos in the chat, and take a look at them and see if it isn't right on base with the kind of studies and work you're trying to accomplish. And then I actually have a question, because it seems like you will have the answer. I just been saving a tooth that's loose on the bottom for about the last year, taking gelatin, drinking it with tea, because it's been getting hit from a bad root canal on top, the crown, and sticking out like an 1/8 inch too much. So I've been working that for a year to save it, which I've been doing. And then I just went, and there's a big cavity that's infected under the gum. So I only found this out a few days ago. So now I'm looking for frequencies or oil pulling, or maybe light, like lasers or stuff you're talking about. So I now have actually a real problem to try and utilize some of this combination of frequencies and tech and healing frequencies. So that's all I have right now. Please check out.
Okay. Yeah, so what will help you a great deal is you need, first of all, a cavity means you're missing hydroxyapatite. That is your dentite. That's your NO. You're missing that. So first, so what you order on, listen, so order online dentite. You need to replenish the minerals that your tooth is lacking. You can, if you relentless with it, you can rebuild it. I've seen somebody do it. So you need dentite. You need xylitol chewing gum, because you got to be relentless with that. You got to work at it. And then you need hydroxyapatite toothpaste, which should be the only toothpaste anybody should ever use. That fluoride crap doesn't do shit and doesn't heal or doesn't disinfect anything. It removes some tartar, but it's actually crap. The toothpaste, these are exiled. Huh?
Can you say the name of the toothpaste again?
Hydroxyapatite. That is the crystal that your tooth is made of. And when you have a cavity, it's basically a bacteria that eats that mineral. And to rebuild the tooth, and root canal is already in deep, so let's hope this works. You need dentite. Oil pulling is not helping. Dentite is a direct approach. dentite, dentite. I take that stuff. And you need the hydroxyapatite toothpaste, which is $9 on eBay. It's the new toothpaste.
You said something like the Sir Detol chewing gum.
The chewing
Yeah,
gum.
xylitol,
Septo.
xylitol. Yeah, xylitol chewing gum.
How do you
Because
spell that?
that's X
Why?
Y L O L A T O L, xylitol.
Okay, got it.
And
Thanks,
yeah,
bro.
there was a lady that had a cavity, and I saw her on YouTube, and she said that she went to the doctor and they wanted to like cut it and cap it, and she's like, nah. So she was just like relentless every day chewing xylitol. And the doctor did the X-ray after a month, and he said the cavities are gone.
Wow. How about
So you
chewing? How about chewing garlic? Does it help?
that no zero. That doesn't do anything for your tooth. Right now, you have to, like what he talks about, you need to directly go at your tooth. The nervous system, the enamel, the crystalline structure of the tooth need to be rebuilt, and people are doing it. I'm surprised that they're not selling 300 million toothpaste. You know, people still buy this fluoride crap, which actually is not conducive to your gum line nor your teeth. I'm using Dentite. I'm having xylitol tablets, like chewables, like you know, like fresh mints. I use xylitol gum and hydroxyapatite toothpaste because that has the mineral that your tooth needs to rebuild.
Yeah.
So the decay that we have is we're losing minerals eating. We're eating acidic, you know, and there's people that don't eat sugar and wonder why they have cavities. Well, our food process is still not clear. So nobody is safe. So you got to do, which can be a whole nother show. Do your parasite cleansing, do your tooth rebuilding all the time, maintenance. Because our processed food system is not clear, period. Period.
Well done. Thank you. That is so useful.
Yeah.
Right.
That'll help you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really, when you put that thing on the screen, your first thing, it looks so much also like the three-wheel, like electric enclosed scooter kind of vehicles. All you need is wheels on the bottom. It's a really slick thing, and there's a lot of space to add other stuff to that. You could actually put wheels on that and have. So that is a really awesome design. As soon as I laid eyes on it, I was like, wow, that's great. That's awesome. Really opens up lots of new worlds.
Yes, Scott. Right. We have to wrap it up now because it's going a little bit too long. Right. One last chance for two more questions, folks. If you got any particular question.
It also looks like an ear. So instead of an ear bud, it's an ear bed.
Oh, right. Okay, so unmute yourself, folks. Two more questions and we're going to close. Thank you, Rene, for typing in chat. Safe chat, folks. Safe chat. So you got the names properly spelled out by Rene on chat. Hydroxyapatite, Dentite, xylitol gum or tablets that will restore your dentine. Okay, so calling once, twice, okay. Now there is no other business. This meeting, 128 FESIG meeting, second session, is now adjourned to the 129th meeting. And is that on the 2nd of October? Yeah, I think so. So put it down in the diary and join us again. And thank you very much, Rene, for gracing our platform once again with all this useful conversation, presentation of yours that we could actually learn from. Pen down in your diary for the next fantastic speakers to come on board on the 2nd of October, folks. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who participates here, taking time off to join us today. And thank you, Fres, Coche, Pontus, Henrik, and everyone else here, brothers and sisters of FESIG who regularly attends this meeting. We are learning so much from you guys. Thank you. And stop recording now, Henrik.